4:30, let's call the meeting to order. Bob, you want to start us out?
Bacon present. Oh,
Fig's present.
pledge allegiance.
Keekwam here?
Milky here.
Coin here.
Sweet here.
Oh, we gotta.
Being a quorum present, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Going on to agenda item number 4. Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion by Coin.
Second.
Support by Fig. To approve tonight's agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And the motion is approved. The agenda is approved. Going on to agenda item number 5, approval of minutes from May 21st. How are those looking?
I have one correction, and I wasn't here, so I can't correct the content, but on page 2, new business item A, I was elected vice chair. Brian is with a Y, not an I.
You can change your name, Kay.
I could change my name if it's easier.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe there's a new guy.
But I couldn't speak to the content, because I was not here.
Thank you, by the way, for not taking this.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
appreciate it.
He wasn't here, so we put him in a seat.
Good news is our chair is always here. Seems like.
So is there a motion with that
I
correction?
move that we approve the minutes as presented.
Support. Motion by Fig, support by Coin, to approve those minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same. And motion is approved. Going on to item 6, public comment. Anybody online?
Hey, Sarge.
Let's let the roll call know we have Chowdhury and Bars.
Good at demerit.
So no public present. So let's move on to presentations. Looks like we have a audit presentation.
Good afternoon. Thank you for
Hello.
having me. Is the presentation getting put up on screen at all?
And we have them on the table.
Yes. Very good. Well, I'm Allie Barnes from Yo and Yo. We're the CPA firm that's contracted by the Township to come in and perform the annual audit. So those are the results we're going to go through. So let me see if I can get this up here too. All right. So the Township received an unmodified or clean audit opinion for the 2023 fiscal year ended. This is the highest level of assurance that we can provide that the statements have been prepared accurately, to the best of management's knowledge, factoring in the rules that are required to be followed and materiality. And our job is simply to issue an opinion on the information presented to us. So, well done overall by the Township. We're going to touch on each East and West DDA, and then we'll talk about internal controls towards the end. So here is kind of the summarized information for the East DDA for 2023. So this is, the stacked bars are your revenue. So the blue portion is other revenue, which you'll see did increase over the prior year. The excess funds have been put into interest-bearing accounts so that you're receiving more in interest income. So that particular piece, interest income, was up by about 59,000 for East DDA for 2023. And then the larger peachish color there is the property tax revenue that's collected. That was about 517,000, which was roughly a 4% increase over the previous year. So revenue trending upwards in total also. On the expenditure side, that came in at about 500,000 for the year, which you'll see was an increase over the prior year. Really what happens, you know, within East DDA on the expense side, just depends on which projects you as a board choose to approve for the year. So greater projects during 2023. West DDA, similar kind of picture when we look at revenues. The other revenue category includes that interest income. That was up by about 31,000 for West DDA. On the property tax revenue portion, that made up about 414,000 of the total revenues. And again, that was up roughly 4% year over year. West DDA actually saw a decrease in the amount of expenditures for the year. There was only 105,000 or so that was spent on just some minimal projects. So at the end of the fiscal year, here we have the net position in each of these. So you'll see that East DDA has continued to trend upwards for all of the years presented here. It ended 2023 with about 2.3 million in total net position, and that was a $150,000 increase from the previous fiscal year. West DDA ended the year with about 1.7 million, which was an increase of 349,000 from the previous year. So overall, it's been trending upwards. 2022, it had gone down just due to the level of projects that had been approved within that DDA. On the internal controls and compliance section, there were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies related to any of the activity in either of the DDAs. We did issue one management comment this year. Overall, this isn't just specific to the DDAs, but to the township, and because the transactions for the DDAs flow through the same system, this comment also applies to the DDAs as well. So we took more of an in-depth look at the journal entry process this year due to some changes in the auditing standards. And within that transaction cycle, there's not always a second person reviewing and approving the journal entries that are posted. And so our recommendation is simply that there be a second person always reviewing and approving those transactions. And we talked about it quite a bit at the township board meeting, kind of what that looks like and the semantics of getting that done. So just a good area to implement some best practices to tighten things up even more. So overall, it was a very good audit, clean opinion, as I mentioned, and I'd be happy to take any questions if you have them.
I have one.
Yeah.
When you, under net position, is that available cash, or will that start including real estate as we pick it up? We're starting to purchase real estate, which is an asset, but it's not equally liquidated.
Right, so
asset.
net position would be all of your assets less any liabilities that
Sure.
there are. So right now, yes, it's primarily cash.
Right.
Yeah.
But
would include in the future.
in the future, if we started picking up more real estate, would they break it down into two categories for auditing purposes?
Correct.
Okay.
Any more questions or comments? Rick? We got the banker on the board. What's up? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
looks
thank you,
good.
Ellie.
on to item 8, reports. About accounts payable approvals.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
Okay, I'll start out with the accounts payable for the East DDA, the 248 fund. We had a payment to Consumers Energy for $710.49. A payment to Black Electric for a couple of things. The payment was for $2,475. That was to hang Art Reach banners on the light poles along Pickard, and they replaced a wire to one of the sprinkler controllers. And then we also had a payment to Goner Lawn Care. That was for lawn mowing along Pickard and some empty lots that the DDA owns. That was for $2,775. And we had a payment to Gordy Frazier for engineering for the sidewalk design from Bud Street, on Bud Street from Isabella Road. Oh, Bud Street and Isabella Road sidewalks. And that was for $862.50. And then we had a payment to Isabella Corp. For a water service repair, and that was related to irrigation on Pickard. That was for $6,745. And a payment to Strategic Value Media for $500. This was a partial payment for an ad in the Home Builders Association magazine. That was split up between general fund, East DDA and West DDA. So we had a total accounts payable for the East DDA of $14,067.99. Any questions?
The strategic value media, was that for, looking for irrigation consultants? Or was-
No, that, as was mentioned, that was for an ad that was,
Yeah, an ad, but I didn't know what the ad was for.
Just-
no, it's not for that.
Advertising Union Township.
Thank you.
What kind of water service repair did we have?
We had some pretty significant damage from the road construction project. One of the main leads, water leads into our system around the interchange area was damaged by the installation of new traffic signals at the interchange. And we didn't discover it until we turned the water on. And so it required some pretty extensive work to reconstruct the lead and relocate it away from the traffic signal. Essentially, they put the traffic signal directly through the pipe when they installed it.
And they didn't know it because there was no water on when they did
Right,
it.
right. And we knew there was potential for that, and there was nothing we could do about it ahead of time. So we were watching for it when the water's turned on, but nonetheless, it was pretty extensive repair to get it put back together.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Barr, support by Sweet, to approve the East DDA payables for the $14,067.99. Hearing no questions, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. The payables are approved. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the West DDA of accounts payable. We had a payment to Strategic Value Media for $500 from the West DDA. And that was for part of that invoice for the ad in the Home Builders Association magazine. And that was the only check issued this month. So a total of 500 in the West DDA.
I make a motion that we approve the payables for the West DDA as presented.
Second.
What was that, you?
I don't know, either one of us.
That's a motion by Fig, support by Chowdhury.
Bacon, I think it was.
Bacon? Okay. Motion by Figs, support by Bacon to approve the West DDA payments. Hearing no questions, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. And the motion is approved.
Okay, moving on to the East DDA financial reports. Taking a look at your revenue and expenditure report for as of the end of May. As always, the payables that you approved tonight are posted here and included in this report. So currently revenues are at about 5% of budget. There'll be more coming there later this year. And then when it comes to your expenditures, you're at about 3.5% of budget. There's quite a few, the reason for that is there's quite a few projects in the budget that we haven't received invoices for yet. And then moving on to the balance sheet for the East DDA, your total assets are about 2 million, and so your ending fund balance is just under 2 million. Are there any questions on the financials for the East DDA? It's pretty straightforward. Moving on to the West DDA financials, looking at your revenue and expenditure report, you'll see interest earned is posted there, so you're at about, your revenues are at about 5% of budget. And then looking at the expenditures, it's still early in the year, and your expenditures are at about 6% of budget, and there'll be more coming later. Moving on to the balance sheet, you'll notice that the assets, all made of cash basically, is about 1.2 million, and your ending fund balance is about 1.2 million. And you'll notice that this is cleaned up quite a bit because we did close out the fiscal year 2023, and so it's a lot more clean and easier to read at this point. Are there any questions on the West DDA? If not,
Thank you,
very
Sharon.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks. So, let's let the record show the financials were presented and received and filed. And item 8C in your packet, you see the board member matrix for your review. And moving on to agenda item number 9, new business. Looks like we have a couple requests for board action items. Start us
Well, the
out.
first one in your packet is request for board action to approve a construction contract for the Bud Street sidewalk project. This is a section of new sidewalk that would extend up from East Pickard Road and 20 up along the east side of Bud Street up to Jameson Park. So connect the park into the sidewalk network. We should have a report dated June the 4th. And you'll see there, we did receive 3 bids. All 3 are local companies. 2 of them are headquartered in our DDA districts. So we're very pleased with the response to this request. You'll see there, the low bidder is Malley Construction. The other bidders were from the Isabel Corporation and Lakeshore Construction. The low bid is less than our Township engineer anticipated, which is always a good place to be, at $55,886. And so we're pleased to recommend to you the low bid of Malley Construction for your acceptance, if you're in agreement with that. So all 3 companies are excellent companies. We've worked with 2 of them before on other projects. But in this case, the low bidder of Malley Construction is our recommendation. And we'd be happy to answer any questions as we go along.
I resolve to approve the construction contract with Malley Construction in the amount of $55,886 to perform all works as specified in the bidding documents for Bud Street Sidewalk Extension Project.
Support.
Got a motion by Sweet, support by Bars, to approve this request for board action. Hearing no more questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And that board action is approved. Thank you.
The second item you had before you starts on page 24 of your packet. This is a request for approval of an irrigation design professional to provide advisory services related to design elements for future reconstruction of the underground irrigation along East Pickard Road in the road construction area. You should have our memo dated June the 12th. In the packet also, you'll see a copy of the request for board action, request for qualifications that we put out. We did receive 2 responses to that request for qualifications. That was both posted on our website. It was advertised in the Morning Sun, which also gets it further out through their network. And then it was directly sent to a number of companies that were recommended to us. You'll see both, in this case, you see the 2 companies. One is Irrigation Design Consultants from Jennison, and the other one is Graber and Associates from Chesterfield. Both Michigan-based, neither one are local, but both are highly qualified firms. As I said, because this was a request for qualifications, all we ask of them is to provide their hourly rate. We're not asking here for a bid, so you do see their hourly rate, and they're similar. A little bit less one than the other, but similar rate, and certainly within a reasonable rate for this type of design assistance. Based on our review, we found that the Graber Associates response was more comprehensive, and certainly provided some very helpful examples of their work. They have done work in the area through Central Michigan University, as well as some other projects around the state, substantial projects. So we're comfortable with recommending them to you to be the successful firm to assist with this work. But as I said, both are highly qualified. We'd be happy to work with either firm. With that, essentially, your response to this could be a number of different things. You could select a firm from the qualification, and we would simply move ahead to work with that company to develop a work plan, and then from that there would be a cost estimate that would come back to you. Or you could ask for a detailed bid from one or both of the firms if you choose. So it's really up to you how you prefer to proceed at this point.
Thanks for the ad, by the way.
Questions, comments? I like it. I like the way you did that. The RFP, I think that makes sense. I've heard of this graver.
I think that's what we were asking for. We wanted options, and this is what you were gonna ask these people to give us different options.
Right, and
Not
certainly, if you were to choose one of the firms tonight, we could invite them to come to the next meeting and have a conversation with them. That's really a good way to kick off the project anyway, is to have them come and have a conversation about what we'd like and maybe start and getting some questions answered that would help them then develop a work plan from there. So, if you're comfortable with selecting one of the firms, then we can proceed in that direction.
And I think we've discussed it.
Yeah, I
you
just-
Yeah, I don't want to spend another
Did you
meeting about irrigation.
Yeah, we said,
Bring us to your reports and,
what do you do?
Did you
boy, I don't want to spend another minute talking irrigation.
Did you have a positive, more positive indication from your recommendation because of their, seem to have more experience, about 20 years in the business longer, and they've worked on some pretty big projects, it looks like.
Yeah, but certainly I would say that both are highly qualified to do the work.
Yeah,
on this.
right.
My recommendation is largely based on the more comprehensive response from
Right.
Graver.
It seems,
I agree that they have a substantial experience, but
along with that,
I like that we asked them for something, they provided it.
right.
The other firm, Irrigation Design Consultants, they provided a response. It was not as comprehensive, it didn't address everything we asked for. It addressed 90% of it, not everything.
Well, it's nice that we got two responses to look at. And like you said, they're in a ballpark for cost. And did you get an estimate on what an effort like that might take?
Well, largely, that will depend on you. This consultant is really to help you as we clarify what we want to have happen along that corridor. And I think that's why I think the first place where they can be helpful is to actually be at a meeting and ask some good questions from their perspective and perhaps offer some advice that can help start to clarify what we want to do. Because we have a number of options. We can do nothing. We can put back exactly what was there before, or we can do something different based on technology that's available or design options that are available that might work better.
It's been in the works for a while, the irrigation question, and so I see any planning is helpful to any project, and the more planning, usually the better the process goes when you're doing the project.
Yeah, the more clear we can be in our specifications, what we want to have happen, first of all, the better the bids will be, the better the responses will be.
Right,
for cost
more
estimates.
accurate,
Yeah. And of course, the better the results.
yes. So I think that we should look at some way to get the planning process moving, rolling forward. And you presented us with an option that I support, trying to get forward. Get some good plans, get some good drawings, and that gives us even more solid information to discuss.
Sounds good. Can I get a motion? Is that a motion?
I would move to approve the Graber and Associates LLC to provide irrigation design advisory services to help identify and prioritize necessary design elements and preferred features and controls for the planned reinstallation of the East DDA's district's underground irrigation system along the East Pickard Road M20 corridor from the west of US 127 interchange to Packard Street.
Support. Got a motion by Fig, support by Coin to approve this request for board action. Hearing no more questions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And the motion is approved. Thank you. And moving on to agenda item number 10, pending business. Everything there, Rodney?
Take this time.
About number 11, director comments.
Just have a few notes, just for some updates. One, you saw the charges related to some irrigation system repairs. We have a little bit more to do. We're having to replace several of the controllers within the interchange area. That's also related to, in this case, electrical wiring damage from the road construction project. That wiring was not able to be replaced, and so we're moving to controllers that are powered through 9-volt battery. So they will no longer be attached to the electrical. It was far less expensive to replace the controller than it was to even attempt to run the wiring back to where it needed to go. It would go underneath the exit lane from the interchange to do that. So that's in process right now. You maybe seen the work. I can't recall if we've seen work yet. I've driven by it several times, and I haven't looked. But they're starting the landscaping improvements in the interchange area. Right now, they're doing some of the non-plant material improvements that were on the plan that you saw previously. And as soon as the irrigation controllers are in and the system is fully up and running in the interchange area, they'll do the rest of the landscaping improvements in the interchange area. This is Green Sea Landscaping that's doing that work. We have interesting item. There was one of the round concrete planters that could not be reinstalled after the road was done. The site where it was regraded, and the slope was such that they could not put it back. So currently, right now, looking at where we might locate that planter along the corridor. The park bench that it was associated with is still in the same location. This is near My Michigan Health and the movie theater. But I said the concrete planter can't go back where it was, so we'd be just looking at where it might be located elsewhere. So that will be coming. And there are also a couple of bike hookups here for locking your bike up that were removed and not reinstalled. So they're working on getting those put back in. And the one missing street light that was taken out unintentionally, it was being reinstalled last week. So I haven't heard yet if it's electrified yet, but they were working on it. So we're very close to being back up, fully up to speed from the road construction. The last item is related to the Petro Plaza property. I did receive an appraisal. It just arrived, so it came in well after the board packet was out. So we'll have that on your agenda for next time. I'm going to be sitting down with the appraiser with some questions about it, and I've been talking with the township attorney, and I expect we'll be having a closed session to review that appraisal and then for you to look at what you'd like to do from that. But I can expect that at your next meeting. Those were the items I had on my list, and I'm happy to answer any other questions we have.
Anything else?
Sorry?
That's the
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the ad that's in the Michigan Builder magazine.
I gotcha.
Okay.
Hearing no more questions, I guess we can call the meeting adjourned. 5:04. And we'll see everybody Tuesday, July 16th.
16.
Thank you.
4 weeks.